There go my homegirl, Gretchen. Hey, Gretchen! Hey, girl! I'm scared of you. You look good. Love what you did with your hair. Shake it, but don't break it. But if you do, save chapter piece. That fool went and spent the baby's diaper money to get her weave tightened.
You guys are going to be in a place of stability in your new beginning, okay? When it comes down to your work and when it comes down to your career ambition, you're going to get to your next levels. You're going to come to a place of having that security, having that peace. And people in your environment, at your new work environment or in your new department, they're going to appreciate your work. They're going to look at you and say, okay, you put value in the situation. You're about putting in hard work and your energy is going to be much appreciated. But there's one thing that you guys have to really watch out in your new beginning. You're going to have somebody that's going to be in your energy trying to stir the pot. Okay, you got the octopus energy right here. And this person is going to come to you like a friend, trying to give you advice as far as how your staff is going to be, how your co-workers are in the environment, okay? Take the time to get to know your co-workers. Take the time to get to know your bosses, okay? Don't depend on this energy around you, okay? This is this octopus energy. And octopus energy is all about, really going off of somebody's emotional behavior and not really taking the time to really being intuitive to really know who they're dealing with. You're dealing with somebody who is just trying to get a rise out of you, and you're coming up as this rabbit energy. So this person's already looking at you as prey in the situation. Okay, and the main reason why they look at you as prey in the situation is because they see you as a threat. Okay, they see you as someone that has everything together, and they form this opinion about everybody in their work environment, especially those who they see as a threat. So they start running their mouth in this gossiping type of way, trying to sway the room into other directions. But this person here has no sense of loyalty to no one in their environment. Okay. It goes off of their mood. So if their mood is high, they're talking great about the person. If their mood is low, they're bringing them all the way down, okay? And this person has no factual information about anybody in their environment, okay? They just want to have people on their spear, have people in their ear, okay? Because they're not happy about, where they are in their position, okay? And you know what? That's their own making, because, half the reason why they're not happy in their position is because they don't know when to close their mouth, okay? They don't know when to be quiet in the situation, to stop gossiping about other people, okay? And actually do their job, okay? And this person sees that you're new in the environment. So you guys could just be looking in the environment saying, hey, you know what? Let me just sort of gauge it out. Let's see what the environment's all about. Okay, you guys have this rabbit energy. And rabbit can be a little bit of an anxious type of mindset, especially in new beginnings. It's just it's a lot of things that's going on in that person's mind. So they're trying to make sure things are coming aligned properly. They're trying to make sure that people in their environment are getting the things that they need, okay? So it's just very methodical when it comes down to making sure the smaller details are in place. So it puts a little bit of anxious energy, okay? But you guys have nothing to worry about in your new space and your new beginning. But this person is trying to butter you up, trying to stir the pot, trying to get you to partake in the gossip that's going on in the office environment, okay? And like I said before, this person's stirring the pot in the situation. And the main thing that you guys need to do about this is really, like I said, walk away from the situation, shut it down when you see it, okay? Because you're going to see this person oh, you know what? They see their homegirl that they've been talking to all these years in the office, but they talking mad smack, okay? Because guess what? They don't know when to have proper boundaries when it comes down to interactions, okay? This person doesn't know when to say, okay, hey, I can't work over tonight, okay? I got to go home. So instead of expressing themselves in the office and letting them know, hey, you know what? Can't do this, or saying that, okay, you know what, can you guys give me this, paperwork that I need, early on, don't give me things last minute. This person, instead of being that person to say, hey, I need to tell you what my boundaries are in the office, okay? I'm telling you right now, this right here is not really, beneficial for me, okay? If just you guys are giving me last minute work, okay, you guys got to let me know things in advance before, putting something on my desk. This person sort of puts this guys everything's okay. Okay, they don't have any boundaries. So it's oh yeah, someone says oh yeah, can I send this to you tomorrow morning? And if they need it to, for the day, they're not going to tell that person that, okay? They're going to get mad at the situation, okay? Go into their little memory, okay? And start talking mess about the person in their work department, okay? because they don't know when to say, okay, you know what, let me stand up for myself in a situation. Let me express myself in the proper manner, okay? They don't have these life skills, okay? And without those life skills, they bring in mess, okay? Because you know what, you guys are really taking the time. You're having this light bulb moment here. You're like, where is this mess coming from? This person doesn't have any emotional boundaries put in place, okay? So they sort of like, put themselves on other people's energy, okay? And this person could be, you'll look at them in the environment, you're like, wow, these people that they're talking about, it seems like they're cool with these people, okay? Like I said, guys, a gossip has no sense of loyalty in the situation. A gossip has no sense of loyalty in a situation. They're all about, their own means. They're all about their own thought process, okay? And when they're, when their back is against the wall and when things are not going their way, they turn on people, okay? And you guys are having that light bulb moment and say, hey, you know what? Before I put my trust in anybody in this environment, I need to learn the environment for myself. Okay, you guys can probably see this energy. You're like, oh wow, this person seems like a kindred spirit, And one thing about octopus energy, okay, it's all about having that compassion. So you guys probably thought this was like an empath on your page or someone that has the same type of light mindset. Guess again, okay? Guess again, because this person is all about mess. They're all about mess, and they use their emotions to get people to lower their guard, and that's when they start talking mess. And half of the stuff they're talking about is not true, okay? They're putting you in this SOS perspective early on in the game, in your new position. Like I said, it could be a new department as well, and you guys don't have to have that anxiety. You're not walking into mess. There's no mess that's coming onto your table when it comes down to your work environment, okay? You're going to walk into a grounded sense of peace in your work environment. This person just wants to lower your guard so you start talking, okay? So they can start figuring out about you as well. So they're trying to come across like, I'm loyal. I'm giving you the information that you need to succeed, okay? I'm just telling you, okay, how this person is. But the major thing that you guys can do, especially when you're dealing with somebody that has this messy behavior, okay, you can redirect this behavior, okay? You got a script, okay? You can redirect this behavior and say, hey, you know what? Seems like you need to talk to this person over there about, if something's going on with you, okay, with that, okay, when it comes down to like, getting your work at a proper time or, your vacation time wasn't approved, at a timely manner, go to them directly. You had that conversation because it seems like you're cool with that person, okay? You talk every day. You in their face every morning. You guys can have some comedic relief or comedic effect towards this conversation to let them know like, okay, you know what? I see what's going on here. Okay, you're examining their behavior from a very logical lens, and when you're able to examine their behavior from a logical lens, okay, they're able to like not pull one over on you. They're back away from your desk. Okay, they're like, oh wait a minute, I can't get messy with this one. Okay, I can't get messy with the collective because they know what I'm doing. Okay, they know what's going on the table. I can't pull one past their eyes. Okay, because you're seeing like you're examining the situation. You're like, listen here. Okay, you're giving me all this SOS behavior, like, okay, I really got a problem on this. These people in this, department are really grimy. You're like, no, you just feeling some type of way because things are not going in your way, in your direction, as far as like, how you want your desk or how you want your day to be, delegated. Okay. And sometimes, you're telling this person it's okay to express yourself because what you're doing is you're masking, okay, your overall, your thought process, your overall, your own overall desires as far as like, how you feel that the office should go in a proper way, especially if you're not putting up those boundaries, okay? You guys are lightly saying to this person, okay, you know what, direct that energy to that person that you had that problem with. I'm not going to be in the middle of this, okay? Remove yourself from the middle of this, okay? Because guess what? This person is really out of pocket. When you let this person sit at your desk talking, they start talking crazy. Okay, they start talking about like how people got their job. Okay, they could be spreading rumors that people had affairs to get their job, or people are engaged in like dirty things to get to where they need to get to. And you guys, like I said, don't have this nervous energy like this rabbit, okay, of having this anxiety like, oh, wow, did I pick the right position? Did I settle for the right job? This person's just pulling your leg, okay? Like I said, they had these unresolved issues with their coworkers, and they try to put on the fake little face saying, okay, everything's okay, and it's really not, okay? They need to be a grown man, grown woman, and talk to their coworkers if they have something that's not going on properly the way that they want it to go, okay? Instead of, like I said, putting people's business in the street, that's not even true, okay? Because if you guys entertain this type of energy, okay, like I said, you guys are going to have this new beginning with abundance. You're going to have this new beginning where people are going to be, willing to grow with you, okay? You're going to see that, people on your team are not in this dirty perspective, okay? They're looking to grow with you, okay? As you have this person in your ear, okay, if you have this person just around you, even listening to this gossip, being around it, okay, they're going to cause y'all to be in this position of lack, okay? Rather it be you won't see any growth opportunities with this job because they know that you're associated with somebody that's like, messy. So they're like, hey, they're dealing with that person, okay, because this person here, it's going to come out how messy they are. It's going to come out how messy they are in the situation. It's going to come out that they talking about everybody in the office, okay? And once it does, okay, it's going to affect you if you entertain it, okay? You'll be penny pinching like, oh, man, I just really want to grow. And people sort of see that you, going to lunch with this person, okay, going to Chick-fil-A, going to Benihana's, going wherever you're going, okay, in collaboration with this person besides on a work-friendly type of matter. They're like, I don't see this person really working out in any type of management, okay? They entertain a lot of mess, okay? You will be affiliated with this person if you don't put your boundaries in check, okay? And the biggest thing that you guys need to do is have, like I said, a good little brick wall with your boundaries when it comes down to mess. When you see someone coming into your space with gossip, you need to be like, hey, you know what? I ain't listening to that, okay? You need to, like I said, direct that to that person over there. You guys deal with that, but don't bring this. I'm new. And even if you guys have been in this position in a while, you're still growing in it right now. You're like, listen, it sounds like you're cool with this person. Don't bring me into this mess, okay? You handle that with that person. You direct that issue with them, okay? So sometimes in life, it's all about being direct. You guys are giving this person tough wisdom and tough, medicine when it comes down to how to handle their business in a work environment, okay? Because you don't want to be in a situation where you're not growing, okay? Because this person could lose their job, okay, from their mouth, okay? And like I said, you guys, could be in this place of stagnancy if you entertain this person, okay? Or like I said, take in their gossip or take in their bad behavior, okay? It could put you in a place of stagnancy as far as like you not being able to grow in a position, or you could be in a situation if you're gossiping with this person in their little group, okay? It could affect all of you guys, okay? Being in a place where you guys lose your job and lose that opportunity, okay? If you're not really wise enough to say, hey, that has nothing to do with me, okay? Because guess what? You're taking the time to read up in your environment. Read the people who you know, okay? Learn people who you know in your environment. Learn people who you're working with, okay? You're taking that time. And guess what? You don't need anybody else's energy. And like I said, that octopus or whatever, that octopus energy, they want to be in the midst of everybody, okay? And they want to give you information, that could be very, like I said, not even could. It could be very much a lie, okay, in the situation, or it could be a bended truth in the situation, which is a lie, okay? And you guys are like, guess what? I'm not in the middle of this. I'm not in the middle of this. You're giving this person the side eye real talk in the situation because you had no time to be in a situation where you're like, okay, you know what? You're affecting my money. You're looking at this person real different in the situation because you're like, you know what? No one's going to affect my money when I went through, my time to grow, my time to be in a situation with my healing process. You guys are like, okay, if I don't learn the receipts on my own accord, I'm not going to be dependent on someone else in my environment telling me about, other people who they just feel triggered with, okay? And the main reason why this person's gossiping, I'm going to be real with you guys too, they got the spirit of envy in them as well, okay? They feel that, anybody who is a threat to them, they start running their mouth. Obviously it wasn't a blessing for them. And they got this job in so many different ways. And let me tell you something. If someone's talking about someone that they cool with, and you see that, and they talking about, oh yeah, I know this person for years, and they start talking mess, you already know when you sitting down listening to them, or you sitting down, like I said, joining in the laughs, or getting this person to laugh at the time period or whatever, they're going to start talking about you. They're going to start talking about you. It's a matter of time. Like I said, it's fun to really see this stuff from afar. Like I said, if you're looking at a comedy special, okay, if someone's doing this behavior on a comedy, pay-per-view type of program, you're like, okay, well, you know what, this is fun. This is my little Netflix type of, comedic relief, okay? But when you in your job, you don't want nobody to tie yourself to no gossipy type of behavior, okay? Because you're like, no, this is going to affect my money, okay? Ain't nothing funny about, being in drama, okay? And people do not take that, lightly. When they see that you're in the middle of, like I said, stirring the pot and you're listening to someone that, and you just starting a position and you're new in the role, okay? Or like I said, you're looking to grow in a position. They're seeing that your ears to everything messy in the situation. People look at that. They look at that from a very, from a microscope, okay, to say, hey, does this person really fit in our growth process when it comes down to, like I said, developing their talent? Because people chose you guys because you bring a lot to the table, okay? And like I said, this person here, with all they mess, is going to find themselves walking out that door, okay? And you don't want to be attached to that person walking out that door. You can be cordial. You can say, hey, how you doing? And when they come to your desk, oh, you want to grab some lunch, or you want to go out for, walk around a little bit? No, I'm good. I'm good. Have a lot of stuff going on my desk, okay? You know when to curve that person. Have that brick wall, okay? Like I said, they giving you information on everybody in the office that everybody got a problem, okay? It's one thing about it you guys are seeing, especially when you know it's fraudulent behavior. If you see them and other people face it, they all happy and bubbly, okay? Then they turn to the side, start talking mess. You already know the deal. You already know the deal. It's a messy person, okay? They're looking to have, like I said, that envious spirit just bubbling up on them real quick, okay? I'm trying to find the octopus right here. And the skirt card, that energy is bubbling up on them real quick, and they know they can't hide it, okay? So you guys, like I said, when you see that person that's like, very much so in this dual-like type of perspective where they going up and down, 1 minute they love a person, 1 minute they talk a mess, stay away from that. Stay away from that. Like I said, they have no sense of loyalty. Gossips have no sense of loyalty. It all goes with their mood of the day. Are they happy? Are they sad? Did you piss them off? Did they look at you wrong? Okay, it all goes with really toxic energy that they bring into the table. All right, guys, let's get some more clarity with the tarot deck here. Let's see. Ooh, cards jumping out. Okay, 3 of Swords. Page of Wands. Yeah, y'all stay away from that energy. Make sure you have your balance. You got the Fool card. 7 of Swords. The Lion card. 2 of Cups in reverse. Okay, I'm going to pull some more. Death card. Yeah. You guys are in a place where you're not playing around. 10 of Pentacles. Judgment. Okay, I'm going to pull one more card. Okay. Page of Cups in reverse. Okay, let's get started. Yeah, you guys are not playing any games. You guys have this 3 of Swords energy right here. You're not going to be in a place where you're heartbroken, okay? As you already went through that in your past. You already went through that in previous work environments that weren't not serving up to your best interest in mind. You guys are like, okay, I already took this leap of action into my new beginning, okay? That Page of Wands, you guys already went through your challenges, okay? With already being, like I said, in a place where, you were in a place of stagnancy. You guys had this new beginning, so you had no time for the mess, okay? You're the fool caught in this, but you're not being a fool in the situation to know what someone's, like I said, bringing mess to your table, okay? This person's sneaky. They sneaky. They like to, like I said, they like to throw rocks and hide their hand, okay? They like to, build people in this sense of false security and building a web where it's like, these people around them feel comfortable. People around them feel comfortable with oversharing information. Don't you guys open your mouth to this person. Don't even interact with them when it comes down to putting yourself in a position where you're giving them, like I said, benefit of the doubt, or like you're giving them let me see your point here. No, when you see that mess coming in, okay, don't even interact with them with that. You shut that stuff down. Like I said, it's different from being cordial with a person. It's cool to say, hey, you know what? Hey, how you doing? Hope your day is going well. But when you see that conversation veer into the mess, you know when to leave it alone, okay? Because it's not a connection that's worth any type of extreme growth in the process, okay? This person could just be left on a cordial type of matter in the situation because they already bringing in that mess, okay? And pretty soon that mess is going to catch up to them. When you see someone hiding their hand in the office, when it comes down to, like I said, talking about people in a negative type of way, that's going to be a death card situation. It's going to be over, okay? It's going to be over. But one thing about it is it's not going to be over for you guys, because you guys are going to have that 10 of Pentacles, because you're going to know when to look at this person from a place of wisdom and know how to handle people in your environment who are not worth your time to invest in, okay? You guys are going to have your wealth. You guys are going to have your growth because you're going to stay above the madness of the situation. You got the judgment card that came out here, okay? Judgment's in your favor, okay? Because you guys learned a lesson. Okay, you guys learn the lesson where it's like, I'm not giving empathy to somebody in a situation when they're turning the pot. They're stirring the pot when it comes down to mess and chaos, okay? You know how to invest in people who are, positive, who are on the same pathway, who are like, mature in their behavior. And you know when to dump out a cup, page of cups in reverse, when someone ain't really worth your time and your environment, okay? You know when to say, hey, you know what, this person right here, gotta keep a guard up, Gotta have a brick wall, because you know what? You're not gonna play with my money with entertaining your mess. You're not gonna play with my money when it comes down to being in your space or being in your environment, and you're not looking after my best interest in mind. You just want me to play little games with you like we in high school. You like, nah, we ain't playing any games. And you know when to have your wall up against people in your environment who bringing games to the table, okay? This person got a spirit of envy, and with the spirit of envy, that comes with gossip, okay? And the first thing that you see with the spirit of envy and this gossiping type of seat is they start to talk about everybody. Goes from being friends with one person, then being chaotic and messy to the next, okay? One minute they happy, one minute they switching up on somebody when things are not going their way. And you guys are able to identify that, okay? And guess what? Spirit got judgment of the situation. Okay, it's in your favor, okay? God in your favor right now, because he's looking and saying to you, okay, you learned that lesson, okay? You learned that lesson to be, accountable in your environment. You learned the lesson to take your time, to know who you're dealing with, okay? You're able to you're able to form your own judgments. You're able to have your own receipts when it comes down to learning people, okay? And guess what? Everything that you know, everything that you see, you ain't speaking it out, okay? You're learning how to move in a strategic type of way when it comes down to, like I said, navigating in your work environment, okay? And guess what? Everybody don't need to know that. A lot of this stuff you guys are keeping to your chest. A lot of the stuff that you're running into, you're keeping to your chest as far as how to go about, proper movement in the situation, okay? All right, let's end the reading with the Hard Truth deck here. Let's see. Reality check. Okay. All right. You have big dreams, but are your goals achievable? All right. Complete fantasy versus reality, because manifestation without work is just delusion. Okay. And I believe, like I said, this person needs a reality check. Okay. Because they're looking to grow, but they can't grow with their mouth. Okay. Trying to find that octopus here. Like I said, got my cards out. It's okay. You all guys saw that octopus before. They're looking to grow, but they need a reality check to know what they're bringing into the environment. They're bringing in mess to the environment. How could they grow with that? How could they grow with that? How could they grow with, being a good, team player when they up there trying to start chaos in the situation, okay? This person's getting a reality check, because they're going to realize that they keep on with their behavior, they're going to be out there, looking for pennies, okay? Because nobody wants to work around someone who's turning the tables on everybody in their environment, okay? Nobody wants to deal with that energy. And you guys are not being in a space, I found a rabbit though, you guys are not going to be in a space where you had this rabbit energy being anxious to the situation. You guys are going to have your stability. You guys are going to have your, your growth process, okay? You're not going to allow someone to derail you when it comes down to your overall growth, okay? And then one thing at the bottom of the deck, I saw this one, I'll pull this one as well, is victim mentality, okay? You have been clinging to victimization like a lifelong prisoner of your own making. Face your role in your story. Freedom comes with accepting responsibility for your life and actions. And this person has this victim mentality, okay? That's the reason why they can't grow. That's the reason why they're in chaos right now, because they're not, allowing themselves to look at the bigger picture here to say, I bring in a lot of mess in the situation, okay? I bring in, a type of energy that has no boundaries. And then, like I said, when things don't go my way, I start, going a little bit crazy in the environment, okay? You guys see this, okay? You're not allowing this victim mentality to derail your career, okay? All right, guys, this is your reading for the month of November. Looking forward to talking to you soon. If you like this reading, please like, share, subscribe for me. Thank you so much.
Who am I? I'm the greatest. Who am I? I'm getting paid. Who am I? I'm so flagrant. Who am I? I'm the greatest. Who am I? I'm getting paid. Who am I? I'm so flagrant.